they never paid the taxes.
Eh.
That's Kim, I'm sitting there, I'm at Tomaso's, listening to this horror story, I'm going, and I said, holy mackerel. So her solution was she was going to flip another property. And I said, he's just making it worse. And she had no idea what I was talking about. She was going to short-term capital gains.
Right.
She was going to flip another property. And on top of that, I said, what if the market crashed? And she said, the words I've been waiting to hear. Oh, real estate prices always go up.
Yeah, right.
So Kim, remember those words?
I do remember those words. And that's why, Jason, I like this index that you're doing, because everybody says, oh, the prices are through the roof and they're this and they're that, and they're so inflated. But you're saying maybe not, because let's compare it to real goods and services and see exactly where they do stand, not just opinions. Everybody's on opinions today.
I know.
Very few facts out there.
A lot of opinions with little data, right, Kim?
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
But understand how bad it is if somebody is afraid to give you true data because they might get deplatformed.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing, that's like that woman, that realtor with her husband with a CPA going to flip her way out of a tax problem. I'm going, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. It's like in I think it was your book, Robert, Who Took My Money, where you gave the comparison of the dairy farmer versus the cattle rancher, I believe. And the flippers are the cattle ranchers, right? But at some point that game of musical chairs ends, and those prices don't go up, and the flipping doesn't always work, right? So, yeah, better to be a cash flow investor.
How did you get into this, Jason? What's your background?
Into real estate in general?
Into everything you're doing these days. And tell us what you're doing these days.
I grew up poor. I lived in Los Angeles. I had a single mom. It was a struggle for sure. And I saw an infomercial when I was 16 years old of a guru. This was before the Kiyosaki era. And I got his book and I read 3 chapters and put it down, and my mom read the rest. And about 2 years later, she said, I've been checking out these real estate seminars. There's one in Anaheim. Why don't you go? And so I went, and that really inspired me to get my real estate license, to just kind of learn the basics in the business. And 6 months into my career, I was 20. I bought my first rental property from a client of mine. Yeah.
Who was a guru in those days? There was a lot of them.
Real estate is a very, very good thing. I think it's the most historically proven asset class in the world, possibly.
Wait, who was the guru?
Oh, that was Robert Allen.
Oh, yeah. Nothing down, creating wealth.
Back in the old days. Yeah.
We read that book.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, those were the good old days.
A book can change your life. A book can change your life.
Yeah, absolutely. It can. I mean, look at Rich Dad Poor Dad has changed millions and millions of lives. I mean, the first time I heard about Rich Dad Poor Dad was when I was in Australia. I was on a trip for a couple weeks in Australia, and my friend and I that were cruising around Australia met a couple, and he mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'd never heard of it before, and this was in 1999, I think. Yeah, possibly. Yeah. So good stuff.
97.
So explain the Hartman Commodity Index.
So the comparison index is basically, it's all about comparison. For example, how do you know anything without comparison? If you have a rich dad and a poor dad, you have an understanding of 2 schools of thought. Right. And I think we do that with pretty much everything in life, Robert. We compare things, and that's how we value things. And so if you compare the price of real estate to this basket of commodities and services, I think you can really determine a lot by it. So let's take gold, for example.
Wait. So is that what the HCI does, Hartman Commodity Index?
It compares. Yeah.
So I'm going to help you. How does somebody access it?
Well, they're accessing it right now, for example. And we've got a white paper on it that we're happy to share. And you can get that through my website.
Where's your website? Where do they go?
jasonhartman.com, just my name.
And so so what happens when they go on there and they have a 2-bedroom, 1-bath in Podunk? Can they compare that with gold? What is the comparison?
Yeah. Well, the comparison is like this in the index. So if you go back to, say, 1970, when we were still on the gold standard before Nixon took us off, the median price house was $22,000 and change. And back then, gold was $35. So if you wanted to buy the median price house in gold, it would take 646 ounces of gold. Today, the median house price is about 348,000, give or take, depending on what index you're listening to. Gold is about almost $1,800. So today, to buy that house, it would only take 194 ounces of gold.
What was a 1970 comparison?
646. So today it's less than a third. It's cheaper priced in gold.
Wow. That's interesting.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
That is really cool. Hey, we're going to go to break right now, but I want everybody to stay tuned because it's really important today we have some kind of basis or call a benchmark as to what something's worth. So we'll be right back.
Robert Kiyosaki is one of the first financial educators to back and buy Bitcoin. Why? Robert believes that the dollar weakens through the printing of trillions of dollars by the Federal Reserve. Bitcoin, like gold, should only get stronger. And right now, the stock market is in the biggest bubble it has ever been. If you're planning for retirement, you might need to consider a new strategy, a new asset. It is time to consider Bitcoin. But how? Let me introduce BitTrust IRA. If you already have an IRA, listen carefully. BitTrust IRA helps you seamlessly and securely add cryptocurrencies to your portfolio. BitTrust IRA stores your private keys in nuclear bunkers with military-grade encryption. They have 24/7 trading platform with no minimum investment and unlimited trades, plus a team to help guide you along the way if you have any questions. They also offer the lowest trading fees in the industry. So if you want to add Bitcoin to your existing retirement plan, go to bitrustira.com/richdad today to learn more. bitrustira.com/richdad. And for a limited time, BitTrust IRA is waiving the sign-up fee for Rich Dad listeners, a $50 value. Pretty awesome. That's bitrustira.com/richdad. bitrustira.com/richdad. Listen, you can't afford to ignore Bitcoin anymore. Bitcoin has been one of the best performing assets of 2020 thus far. So, while the dollar is beginning to fail, Bitcoin is growing stronger. Robert says to get gold, silver, and Bitcoin, visit bitrustira.com/richdad today to learn more and get your $50 sign-up fee eliminated. That's bitrustira.com/richdad, bitrustira.com/richdad. Wish you were in early on some of the best performing IPOs of 2019 and 2020? Our Crowd investors were, and now you can join them in what's next. With Our Crowd, accredited investors have access to invest directly, easily, and most importantly, early. Our Crowd investors have benefited from Our Crowd companies IPOing like Beyond Meat or being bought by companies like Intel, Nike, Microsoft, and Oracle. Our Crowd's investment professionals leverage their extensive network to review some of the most promising private companies and startups in the world. As you review deals, you have access to Our Crowd's investor relations team, who you can talk to directly on the phone about your personal investment goals. The investment professionals at Our Crowd have already reviewed thousands of companies, invested hundreds of millions of dollars, closed investments in over 200 companies, chosen dozens of companies that have made exits. Accredited investors can participate in single company deals for as little as $10,000 or one of Our Crowd's funds for as little as $50,000. Now you can invest in BoatSetter, the largest and only insurance-backed boat rental marketplace that connects owners, renters, and licensed captains. BoatSetter has grown revenue over 100% year over year. With 12 million private boat owners in the U.S., more growth could be on the horizon. Our Crowd's accredited investors have already invested over $1 billion in growing tech companies. Join the fast.
You'll pick up twice as much. But not only that, if you sit to have your friends, family, and business associate listen to it, and then you discuss it, you'll find your capacity to learn explodes. So today our guest is Jason Hartman. He's a founder and CEO of Hartman Media, and he and Kenny and George Gammon have started some kind of fund. I have no idea what you guys are always creating things out there. But it's exciting because he has created the Hartman Commodity Index, and it's to compare what makes sense to everything else.
Hartman Comparison Index.
Oh, comparison. I got commodities on my mind.
You're comparing to commodities, but one more time.
Sarah, our producer here, what question do you want from Jason?
So we left off at the first segment, and we just learned that, the average price of a home is $348,000, and that would only take 194 ounces of gold, compared to in 1970, it was much higher. It was 600 something ounces. So I would like to know, what does that mean to the average consumer? Why do I care about that?
And Kim, what do you think about this? I mean, why is this important to you? Because, as an investor, why do you want to know the comparisons of things?
Why do I want to know it?
Yeah.
I want to know what's for example, I think you kind of said it, Jason, is most people think you have to hold cash. You have to buy properties in cash. But there's other places you could put your money where the value of that money could increase dramatically, and then your worth is more. So prices come down, actually, if you can do that.
It's interesting.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting you say that, Jason, because I was at the sushi bar at AJ's market, and I was talking to one of the girls. These two girls. They're escapees or people from Myanmar. They ran away from there. And they're working, the immigrants are busting their butts. I said, how many days a week do you